here, but it's not like I went out and I had a gambling addiction. I didn't have a cocaine addiction. It's every time I got wiped out financially or something other outside of my control, like illness or, crazy stuff. Um, and then now I live a great life in Pensacola. My kids are older, 20 and 22. I have a thriving business and podcast, two separate entities. The Remarkable People podcast is all about helping people grow and glorifying God. And my business that I do, I guess, quote unquote, for a living is a sales and marketing consulting company. We just help business grow, achieve their goals, but to put it towards a bigger purpose than just money.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our goal is to inspire you to live your best audacious lives ever. Totally thrilled that you've taken time out of your day to join us, and I appreciate you hanging out with us on this journey of audaciousness. Now, just like a garden that thrives when we prune the overgrown branches and pull out the weeds, overcoming overthinking and controlling anxiety are essential steps for personal growth. In today's episode, our guest will share valuable insights on how to cultivate a mindset that fosters growth and resilience. Our guest today is David Pasqualone. He's a resilient individual who's overcome numerous challenges in life with unwavering faith and determination. As a successful entrepreneur, podcaster, and motivational speaker, David's journey exemplifies the power of perseverance and faith in the face of adversity. His personal experiences and insights make him the perfect fit for today's episode on overcoming obstacles and achieving personal growth. His unique perspective and practical advice will surely resonate with our listeners seeking inspiration and guidance on their own journey. So now that we've got you all set, let's turn to our conversation with David. Enjoy. Hey, David, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to do this, my friend.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Audley. I'm super happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to having a great conversation today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about conversations here, and I think the art of conversation is such a powerful tool for learning, enriching, and growing, and being able we have these experiences that we go through in life, right? And so to be able to go through all our experiences and use those through the art of conversation to share with others, to help others be better or get on a better pathway or avoid our mistakes or maybe learn from things that we've gone through to make themselves better. I think it's a fabulous opportunity we have here. I think that's a really good segue into kind of your story because you've had your own personal challenges in life, and there's an expression I heard not that long ago, and I haven't. It's always stuck with you. Life is always lifing, right? So there's always something going on, and we just got to respond and react, and we can stay down and go, oh my gosh, life is so terrible. I'll figure out a way to get out of it, and so you definitely done that. So maybe as a starting point, you can share some of your journey with your audience to get them a better idea, sort of, what's got you to the point that you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about anything you'd like today. I've had a great life, but on paper and statistically and by events, it's like, seriously? So, I mean, um, grew up without a dad, sadly, like a lot of people do. Had, for American standards, poverty growing up, had a lot of drama and issues and, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was normal till I was 20. And then I realized, oh, the whole world isn't raised like this.
Not supposed to be
Right.
this way.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I was sick all the time as a teenager, and they kept telling me nothing was wrong. I was a hypochondriac. Come to find out when I'm 18, I had a tumor the size of an orange with a tail down my throat and my head. Took it out, it grew back, took it out, it grew back, had radiation. I got down to like 135 pounds. I think 133 actually. And then, God showed me how to get better, and I got better. Went off to college. All plans were changed at that point. I'm giving you the
Sure,
summary, the nutshell summary, and you
sure.
can decide where you want to land the plane. Went off to college, ended up, getting married, having two amazing kids, and then, professionally, doing great, and then getting sick again from something totally different. And it was from bad dental work that turned into basically poisoning me from the inside out. It was not, again, a fun experience. And it wasn't like 2 or 3 weeks or months. It was 2 years of being sick, 3 years of being like, I had three doctors in 1 week say to get my affairs in order and make out my will. And then they sent me off to the Mayo Clinic. And then they figured out, oh, it is his tooth. It was an infection. Literally cut me open and started scraping off calcification infection while I was awake. And I left because they didn't believe me either. I left an impromptu surgery feeling better than I had in years. And then got better, and I've been healthy ever since. And then after that all happened, love my wife, love my kids, but my wife made some bad life decisions. And relationships are 100,
Sure.
but there's certain things that we can't control with the other person. And that was like the Jerry Springer show, met the good son, met the Twilight Zone for about 6 years. And then I finally, sadly, I hate divorce. God hates divorce. To me, there's only one biblical reason. I still fought for the marriage, but it ended in divorce in 2021. And the whole time in life, money, business, everything's
Yeah.
up and down, up and down. But I'm not being the innocent victim here. But it's not like I went out and I had a gambling addiction. I didn't have a cocaine addiction. It's every time I got wiped out financially or something other outside of my control, like illness or, crazy stuff. And then now I live a great life in Pensacola. My kids are older, 20 and 22. I have a thriving business and podcast, two separate entities. The Remarkable People podcast is all about helping people grow and glorifying God. And my business that I do, I guess, quote unquote, for a living is a sales and marketing consulting company. We just help business grow, achieve their goals, but to put it towards a bigger purpose than just money. So that's my life in a nutshell. So wherever you want to land, I'm down, man. But there's
Well,
definitely been punched in the face, stabbed, left for dead many times in all areas of life.
well, it seems as I was listening, it was just like one after the next, after the next, after the next, and it's like that feeling of how to, can I catch my breath kind of thing. Did you ever have those moments of like when can I catch my breath?
Yeah, no, there's actually a lot of trauma from the physical stuff that happened to the emotional stuff, and you have to just keep giving it to God. People say like forgiveness, you forgive somebody. Well, that's true, but after they harm you over and over again, they're pushing that 70 times 7 limit.
Yeah,
You kind of start questioning, or like you said, you start feeling stable, and then the rug gets ripped out from under you.
right.
The thing that I can say that I believe from when I was a teenager, I came to know God when I was 15. I got saved and my whole life changed. So I always believed, I do believe, and Lord willing, I'll believe it for the rest of eternity, is God loves us all. He's not a vindictive God.
Yeah,
All bad comes from the scumbag Satan. So when people say, why did God let this happen? 9 out of 10 times we're the moron that did it, right? But in those other options, like Job or like Jacob or certain
right.
circumstances that he allows,
Yes,
Joseph, he allows things to happen to show his glory and to actually benefit us. So it's hard to tell somebody dying of cancer or watching a loved one die of cancer, there's a reason for it, but it's true. The Bible says all things work together for good to them that love God, to those called according to his purpose. So when I was young, when I was middle-aged, when I was old, there's always those moments that you feel bad, you feel frustrated, you
right,
feel
right.
angry, but you just got to remind yourself there's a reason. If God wanted me dead, I'd be dead like that.
Sure.
I'm not dead, so there's a purpose. So keep fighting. So that is like the drive in me that I've always had. And that's what I encourage everybody else. If you are in the worst position you can think of,
Yep.
congratulations, because you're still here. That means there's a purpose and a plan for you. You just got to keep fighting. And sometimes fighting is holding on to the rock so you don't slide down the mountain and
Yes.
you move up an inch, but you're just moving up an inch and you're moving
Yes.
forward. So that never quit attitude, I believe, is biblical. Um, I believe it's right. And I've seen it in my life thrive, even though it's like been that
Sure.
old song, been knocked down, but I got back up again, right?
That's right. That's
You
right.
just keep doing it.
As you're talking about that, there's an analogy, and I'm sure regular listeners to this podcast will be sick and tired of me hearing me talk about the hills and the valleys of life. But folks, we're going to do it again because life is absolutely it's a continuum, and there's hills and there's valleys. And at the top of that hills, we celebrate where we're happy, things are going well, things are where they need to be. We've got peace, we've got joy, fulfillment, and they're great. And that's where everyone wants to be. But as we know, life is that continuum, and sometimes there are dips. And sometimes we go down in the valley where it's painful, there's hurts, there's bad things and unfortunate things that take place that bring us down, bring our mood down, bring our energy down, like that we don't want to be there, but could be painful. There's a whole host of things. And we have to constantly realize that it's necessary for us to move forward to get back up on top of that hill. So that continuum moves along. Now, something I'll talk to people often about. Well, I'll say, okay, listen, well, things are bad, absolutely. But we need to find ways to get out that hill, out that valley, to get back up that top of the hill as quickly as we can. And I'm not saying not to be sad, or not remorse the loss of a loved one, or not be upset because something has happened to you. But do you harness that and stay there? Or do you continue to move forward? So the never quit attitude you talked about, moving forward, it is absolutely key and necessary for us to get to the top of the hill and celebrate where everything's good.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I struggle, I'll be honest with you. I always had a low level depression my whole life. And I found out just a few years ago, I actually have, I'm not making excuses, but what the heck's it called? It's like a genetic disorder,
Yeah.
MHTR. So my brain doesn't get all the nutrients it should.
Yeah.
So I always had like a low level depression, but now that I eat like just vitamins and minerals, it helped a ton. But when I had all the marriage stuff happen, like the physical stuff, the death, the money, none of that stuff ever made me that sad. Just,
Right.
okay, it's life. We'll win it back, right? We'll make it back. But with the marriage and the family, that rocked me. And I still struggle, I'd say, with depression some days, just looking back at all the damage and still having questions. And it's okay to ask God questions, but don't question God. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm.
a kid asking a parent, like, well, okay, I just got my license. Why don't you want me going out tonight with my friends? Well, because you're excited and it's your first night with your driver's license and accidents happen. So you're going to stay home tonight. But then like, why won't you let me go? There's a difference between
Yes.
asking the
Yes.
question and questioning God. But like you said, no matter what situation you're in, you should always be looking and using your energy, praising God and
Yep.
spending your energy looking for solutions. So I truly believe every answer to every question is in the Bible.
Mm.
We may not be revealed it at this time, or we may not see it because it's not the right time for us, but I believe they're in there. And when we're working through our problems, even if
Yep.
doctors write you off, I mean, I'm telling you, I was told by so many doctors when I was 18 to 20 and when I was in my 30s, you're a dying man, just accept it. No,
Yep.
if I'm not going to accept it, I'm going to fight and I'm going to fight and I'm going to fight. And you need to fight and you need to fight and you need to fight. And you need to be your biggest advocate other than God. And iron sharpeneth iron, so a man the countenance of his friend. Hopefully you got good friends and family around you to help you. But if you don't, I've been alone with God many times, not just left alone, but betrayed and left alone. And when that stuff happens, you can just rest in God and know it's going to be okay. But there are moments where you get in the flesh and you feel sorry for yourself, or you're just sad. And I heard somebody say once, depression is when our vision of what we wanted or expected is disappointed. That's where depression comes from. It makes a lot of sense. But in those moments, you're still human. Work through it
Yes.
in a healthy way.
Absolutely.
Don't drink. Don't go sleep with prostitutes. Don't go beat somebody up. Don't go self-mutilate yourself. Go for a run, box, do something constructive. Everybody's different. Like, there's probably 50 things I wouldn't even think of. Some people, they'll crochet. I don't know, but find something constructive to get your energy out. journal, write down all the sadness, write
Yeah.
down your prayers, spend time. There's
Yeah.
so many things you can do, but I can say that like my biggest quote unquote weakness
Mhm.
would be struggling with depression.
Yes.
But whenever I'm grateful and thankful, it all goes away. So
Yeah.
it's really just getting that mindset back because there was times where I was, and this is not an exaggeration. I didn't pray to get through a day. I was praying to get through hours.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
God, just help me to live one more hour. Just help me
There's,
live one more hour.
there's so much power in those moments. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you said that. The power in the moment. Like sometimes,
Yep.
sometimes it's what do I need to get through this moment right now? Yes, there's a big thing happening. Like so the war is happening, but there's a battle I'm dealing with right now. And our victories, right? Our victories are made up of a series of battles that we've been successful,
Yep.
right? That's how you win a war. And so I think the power of the moment is so critical.
Yeah. No, again, yeah. And you just be thankful. Like you
Yeah,
really just, I remember like when I was like the sickest I was, I remember seeing a kid in a wheelchair. I was taking my kids, we're in church, and I was so sick, we had to leave church. So we were picking up our kids from Sunday school early. And in the hallway, there was like this 60-year-old mother pushing her like 45-year-old son in a wheelchair. And he
mm,
was physically handicapped, mentally handicapped. And in that moment, it was a complete paradigm shift. I looked at him, I was like, you know what? Everything that's happened, mental, emotional, physical, trauma, anything you want to classify it as with a psychological term, I had a good 35 years. I had a good life. I can walk, I can run,
yeah,
I can
yeah,
think.
yeah.
I got to marry and have kids. So that guy will never know that. And that woman's going to always have to take care of him. And again, I'm not putting their situation down.
No, no,
But I'm saying we all, even that woman, she could look at somebody else and say, I have so much to be grateful for. And that kid, he was happy as could be. He's got so
yeah,
much to be grateful
yeah,
before. In
yeah.
eternity, he'll be with the Lord. So all I'm saying is wherever we're at, when people say it can't get worse, it can always get worse, but it can also always get better. So you just gotta, I remember for me, that was a massive shift in 2009,
Absolutely.
seeing him and saying, you know what, even if I died, look at all the amazing things I had in my life already. I can go home and be happy.
It reminds me of a story. I've got a child on the autism spectrum, and she's got developmental delay, and but from like her gross motor skills are off the charts. She's fine. Again, just there's a developmental delay, and at the beginning of so prior to the school year, so when she's still in school now. Prior to the school year, so around May, the boards, the school boards sort of bring all the parents together of these children that require these extra care and start planning for, who needs what. And so we're sitting in this, her mother and I are sitting in this room with all these other parents, and we're talking about the coming September and and the boards are challenged because they've got to figure out a way to meet everyone's needs, and it's difficult. So that's the purpose of the conversation. And I'm sitting here listening to parents say things like, "Who's going to change my child when they have to go to the bathroom, or who's going to feed them? They're on a feeding tube, or the different other things that are going on." And I'm looking at my daughter, and it's like she's got a delay, but like she can go to the washroom and stuff, she can feed herself, she's all these things that she can do. So that appreciation and gratitude that you talk about, it was very vivid and real in that moment for me, and it was a
Yep.
very powerful lesson. And you're absolutely correct, things can always get worse, uh, and for me, maybe for someone it is worse, but then and helps you to focus on what you have in this exact moment. So as you said, that was the story that came to mind, because it's so true. Gratitude is key in all this.
Yeah, I agree. Couldn't agree more. That's
You're,
why, guys, I don't want to butcher his name. What's his name? Nick Vertek?
uh,
He has like one arm and he's completely like deformed and
okay.
doctors, you know who I'm talking about? He does a lot.
There's another gentleman that comes to mind. That's not who I'm thinking. There's another Rick
Yeah,
Santasso.
no, no. Yeah, it's just this guy was like he just I mean, there's so many people like that. So many people just have no quit. And
Yeah,
it's just that's what you got to do. Take what you have, whether like the talent story in the Bible, not story, but the illustration. Talks about how, God, the master gave a servant one talent, gave another servant one talent, another servant one talent. One guy made 2, one guy made 5, the other guy buried it. So it's like, it doesn't matter how many talents you're given in life, you got to use or invest the ones you have.
That's right.
And don't be afraid to lose them, because if you did your best, God's not going to be upset. He doesn't need, money. He doesn't need us even. He doesn't need our skills, but he wants to know that we trust him. And when we do our best, I mean, you reap what you sow. It always thrives, in my opinion. Like, you can do everything right and fail. You can do everything wrong and succeed, because there's so many variables. But 2 + 2 is 4. And normally when you put effort in, good comes out, unless God has a bigger plan. But for the most part, if you're sitting there doing your best, working, as a diligent servant, he's going to reward you. Gotcha. And not prosperity doctrine either. It's not all about money, but it's about providing your needs and joy and peace.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And the rewards may not always be in that moment. It could be a longer game, and then we have to be sort of cognizant of that and be faithful to the fact that, hey, not now, but it will come. At any point, so I'm reflecting on some of the things that you experienced, a lot of things you experienced, you've gone through, tons. And you're here today still proudly and boldly, sharing and helping others. At any point and through any of the experiences, did you ever, how close did you get to quitting? How close did you say, this I can't do? Or was it just, you were always sure that there's a way out and you kept pushing forward?
Yeah, no. So emotionally, when everything happened in my family, and I got to be careful because, I love my kids, and I got to be careful because it's still their mom. The things that she did and hid, and the things that I didn't do that she lied about, it turned my own children at one point against me. And that was depressing, and that was rough. And there's still walls that I'm just waiting for God to take down, because truth will always come out in time, and it just takes time. And we were so close, so close. And that was something my ex-wife always resented. But there was times where I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about money. I didn't care about business. I didn't care about myself. I just kind of would get depressed and just detach from life for a while, right?
Yeah.
So that was it. But I could never get to the point of quitting totally. And it was because I knew, again, God had a reason or I wouldn't be there. So suck it up, stop being a little baby and feeling sorry for yourself, and move forward. And now I like doing practical steps, so your listeners can say, I'm struggling with the same thing, or I know somebody who is. The things that really help me, it may not help you, but I think it will, because humans are humans, right? It doesn't matter what culture you're from. It doesn't matter what country you're from. There's one race, the human race. We all bleed. We all have the same organs. We're God's creation. So the whole concept of races is a lie from Satan. And Darwin made it famous. And you even have pastors talking about races. There's one race, the human race, different countries, different cultures. But what I'm saying is there's a thread of commonality through every man, meaning mankind. And what I did, things that I did to beat the depression. And again, it's like we were talking about forgiveness. I think I started this, never finished it. You forgive somebody once, but you may have to do it over and over again.
Yes. Yeah.
You may pick it back up. And with the depression, you may feel great. And it's not like bipolar. It's just life. You start thinking about it. Or something happens, like we talked with the rugby and pulled out. And you're like, oh, I'm back here again. No.
Yeah.
So the things I do is I set lot of deadlines. Some people would crumble, but to get my butt out of bed, I had to set this. You and I were joking before this started. It's early morning. Well, I put early morning meetings in my schedule, so I'd have to get out of bed, because I don't ever want to disappoint God. and I don't ever want to like lie to somebody or disappoint them. So if I told you I'm showing up for this meeting at a certain time, I need to be there.
Right.
So I put hard deadlines in my life. And it wasn't, I'm going to try to do it or I'll do my best. It's like, you will do it. You may do a trash job because you had 5 days to work on it and you wait till the last day, like, and then you had a rush to get it done, but it got done. And I am a perfectionist, so I'd make sure I'd stay up all night and get it done. But that to me, that was one of the big things that helped me stay out of bed and go full-blown depression. Then the other thing was journaling. Take everything. It says, cast your cares upon me. Jesus says that. So especially if you can't sleep, I haven't had problems sleeping. Like I used to have problems with, I still have problems with nightmares. I haven't figured that one out yet. So if anybody out there has a solution for that, let me know. It's still processing in my sleep. But what I do is I get up, I write everything down that's bothering me. I pray about it, go to bed, and I go back to bed and sleep like a baby. And that is something that's been a game changer for me, because before it was just torture all night long for years. So the journaling helped. Exercise, that physically saved my life. I haven't actually I just started working out again since 2018. So I stopped working out in 2018 for really crazy reasons. And then I got what I consider unhealthy. And I just started working out a couple months ago again. So it's a process, but I'll get back on the, get back on the bike, whatever it's saying.
Get back on the horse, I think.
Get back on the horse. But that's something that when I was going through the craziness of the divorce, my blood pressure was like 200 over 100 and something. I mean, it was high, and it wasn't like one instance. It was like that a lot. So I started going to the gym, and I went from 220 pounds of fat down to like 170 of lean. And then I was at the gym twice a day for the stress. I ended up walking around at like 195 with 10% body fat. So I wasn't trying to do it for vanity.
I just necessity, it sounds like.
Yeah, God used the gym to save my physical life in a lot of ways. Yeah. He uses the Bible and the Holy Ghost and just time with him, spend time with God. And I do.
And that also helps mentally too. Like as much
depression, physical, mental, everything, everything. It helps you be a clear thinker. There's a place, if you become obsessed with working out, especially in our culture today, men and women, there's a lot of people that get into fitness and then they have affairs because it's fleshly and they're around the gym, and say what you want, but like, it's just, if you overindulge any part of your life, you get out of balance. Yes. And it's like a false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. So anything out of balance is actually unbiblical. If you're too far left, if you're too far right. If you eat too many carrots, you turn orange, right? If you eat too many of something else, you can't go to the bathroom for 3 weeks. Yeah, it's balance. It's balance. But so the things that really help me is journaling. And then
I love that.
In the middle of the night, if you wake up, just put everything on paper, do it. And then the other thing I do, if it was real bad, but I'd usually do it the next day, is I'd say, these are all the lies of Satan he was trying to torment me with and keep me up. So I'd write a line down the middle of the page, and on the other side, I put the truth of God, and not BS, not fluffy, froofy stuff to make me feel better. It's like, this is the lie that was tormenting you. That is not the truth. And I'd write the truth. And then when it was done, some people like to keep everything, but a lot of times I'd burn them. Like, I'm not even going to keep this. I don't even want these in my thing. I just burn the page and it's gone. And so that stuff really helped me. But it comes down to just freaking, you got to do it. Like you got to do the work. You don't get fit unless you go to the gym. You don't get, I got to be careful how I phrase this, but you're knowing someone. How do you know somebody? You spend time with them. And the more you spend time with them, especially one-on-one, becomes more intimate. And not sexual intimate, but intimate, like personal, like father, son, right? So that's why we need to spend time with our Bible. And some people, I'm not a morning guy. Okay. I will read my Bible in the morning, usually like a Proverbs. Something just give me a blast, a shotgun of Jesus, right? But I'll do my reading during the day or even at night. So you got to find what works for you. But And a lot of churches like, you got to wake up at 4 a.m. and read your Bible and spend 3 hours with God. And it's like, maybe that works for you, but that never has worked for me. I used to have my best quiet time.
What I think, sorry to cut you. What I think is important in that, I'm so glad you touched on the point that each of us have what works for us. And yes, this is what David does. This is what Audley does. What do I need to do? And maybe you take a mix of both or whatever. But it's an individualized path that we're on. And so I think that makes a really good point.
Yeah, and and it goes back to the balance we were talking before. There's some things that are common to all men. We all need air and water. We need food, right? But you may like broccoli and I might like Brussels sprouts. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's good food, but we like two different versions of it. But the Bible is the Bible. That's a universal truth. That's meat, man. So yeah, that's it. You just gotta find boundaries with people and yourself, and make sure that you're setting yourself up for success and not failure. Because if you don't have any meetings till 11 a.m. and you struggle with depression, you're probably going to stay in bed till 10:58.
Right. So it's time to, Yep. David, this is awesome. I mean, I'm so, I love the sort of dedication to your faith and the hope that you carry and you share openly, which is so powerful for individuals who are going through their own challenges. For anyone that's been listening, that has been inspired by your words and maybe wanted to connect with you directly, where can we send them?
Man, everything is at davidpasqualone.com, and my name, it's not like Smith, right? So I don't know if you can go to the show notes or DAVIDPASQUALONE.com, or if it's easier, you can go to remarkablepeoplepodcast.com.
Absolutely.
They both forward to the same website, just different pages and sections. So if I can help you in any way, if you want to check out our podcast, if you want to go ahead and, see if we can help your business grow, whatever it is. If nothing else, we get free promo code Remarkable. If you love My Pillow, that stuff's amazing. So they sponsor our podcast. You can go to the website, mypillow.com/remarkable, get 38% off everything you order. So that supports you. Yes. It supports American company, and it supports our podcast. So that's how you could help me if you want to.
Amazing. Well, we'll definitely make sure that all those details are available. This has been awesome. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for the inspiration, and keep up the great work, my friend.
Man, hopefully you and I and all the listeners can meet God, and he'll say, well done, thou good and faithful servant, and just give us a big hug. That's like that's what I want most.
Yeah. No, it'd be a beautiful thing. All the best.
All right. Thank you so much.
Back we are here on the podcast, and thanks and appreciation goes to David for being here. We delved into the power of faith, resilience, and gratitude in overcoming life's challenges. His story serves as a powerful reminder that no matter what obstacles we face, with as long as we do so with a positive mindset and unwavering faith, we can conquer any adversity and emerge stronger than ever. Now, if you've been inspired by David's story or would like to connect with him directly, you can certainly find his contact details in the show notes below. I encourage you to not hesitate to reach out to continue the conversation. Just for our listeners, David is offering a special promo code Remarkable on his podcast sponsors products. So visit his website mentioned in the show notes again for a discount of 38% of your order from his partners. So again, a great opportunity to take advantage of. Thank you for tuning into the Audacious Living Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider follow, subscribing, and sharing to the podcast, and that will help us reach even more listeners and continue to grow. Stay audacious, and remember, your best life is within reach. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.